Hello everyone, welcome to this tropical update. So we still have Hurricane Kirk, Tropical Storm Leslie now, and this area went down to 30% in the Gulf. So lower probability, but still might turn into something. But mainly this might be like interact with a frontal boundary and bring a lot of rain towards Florida. So nothing crazy, but we will still monitor this. There's on the Eastern Pacific, Tropical Depression 11E, another small area in the middle of the ocean, just 10%, not likely to become anything. And there's this other area, 30% near Mexico, and this, some models are indicating that this could become something. So we'll keep an eye on that. And that small area is also on the Central Pacific. So let's see what's going on here. There's Clark, still expected to be major hurricane, is almost to major hurricane, likely be a category 4, as you can see here on the forecast. The does show all the way to category 4, so a very intense hurricane there in the Atlantic, definitely an ace maker. Might need to watch out for Europe later, as this becomes like extra tropical. And there's Tropical Storm Leslie, still expected to become a hurricane and head out into the Atlantic. Some models take it closer to the Caribbean, but most don't, so we will keep a close eye on that. And here's Kirk and the track. Some models generally take towards Northern Europe, like the British Isles, the remnants. And now category 3 would likely be category 4, and then weaken rapidly in the colder waters. So let's see, there's Leslie as well. So that showed that track there I showed you. Most models take a north there. So a model or two approaches the northeastern Caribbean, but mainly just go north. So the Caribbean's generally safe from this, you likely go north. But intensity guidance with this is all the way to category 5, one model. Some models already have to category 4, category 3, so this has some big potential out there in the ocean as well. So here, the models, you can see the GFS. There's Kirk, goes out, might affect Europe there with a lot of rain. And then there's Leslie, it goes through, curves north and towards the north. And on the Gulf in Eastern Pacific does form a low pressure in the Gulf, but very broad. Maybe there won't be tropical, just leave a lot of heavy rain there, and the system on the Eastern Pacific forming up, maybe a threat towards the Baja or just curve away there. So we'll keep watching that as well. And there's the European model, shows Kirk, goes, becomes very powerful, and then might affect Europe. The European is now showing like a 973 low pressure extratropical cyclone heading towards Europe, so by October 9th, so better watch. And then the European takes this closer to the Caribbean, but not into the Caribbean, it like curves north, so that's good. And has the low pressure almost forming the Gulf, some heavy rain, Florida and the Bahamas, and the system on the Eastern Pacific. So be aware in those areas. There's the Navgen as well. There's Kirk and Leslie. They both curve out to the Atlantic. The Navgen also takes this closer to the Caribbean, but not into the Caribbean, so that's good. And it tries to form another system later. But the Navgen is really crazy. Like, the Navgen is showing a hurricane in the Gulf with this new system, so don't mind that. That won't happen, but it's interesting to see, so we never know. So there's the Canadian, it just forms a broad low pressure in the Gulf and eventually a tropical storm. So the Canadian is also showing like a tropical storm, so there are definitely some interesting models out there. But let's see, it has Kirk, goes away into Europe, and lastly, curves a little bit south, but eventually heads north, and picks up another small, tiny system to watch, and might join with Leslie. Forms the thing on the Eastern Pacific, and yeah, be aware there. There's the icon, there's Kirk, it goes away north, there's Leslie. Kirk might bring some cold front rain to the Azores and then Europe. And then there's Leslie, it just curves north, and it tries to form the system in the Gulf. It's very weak and broad, probably just a heavy rainmaker in the Florida and the Bahamas, maybe Cuba. So just be aware, Florida, the Bahamas, from like October 7th to October 11th. The worst around October 8th and 9th there, so be aware. And tries to form the thing of the Eastern Pacific. So be aware in those areas. And the ensembles from the European generate Kirk and Leslie very strong out into the ocean. Just 2 or 3 of them take it to the Caribbean, but that's like very low. Most of them just go into the ocean. And there's the next system. Some ensembles are showing like tropical depression, tropical storm strength towards Florida, but not a lot of support. So it likely be just that disorganized low pressure. And here there's the GFS. It does show even less support for Florida there, but some support near the Bahamas and some areas, and it curves all the systems Kirk and Leslie very far out into the Atlantic. So we'll keep watching there. Here the tropical storm probabilities shows Kirk and Leslie there, and some very weak probabilities in the Gulf, but eventually goes up to 30% in the Gulf, and Leslie passes very close to the Caribbean there. So bear watch. And tropical depression probabilities shows Kirk, Leslie, and the Gulf one shows a very high tropical depression probabilities. This one passes close to the Caribbean, and there's that next one that some models are picking up, and it has some like 60% tropical depression probabilities near Florida. So we'll watch that very closely. So stay safe there. In the Western Pacific, we have still tropical storm Katron in Taiwan, but it's very weak now, and tropical cyclone Ancha in the southern Indian Ocean. So let's see. Katron is like very weak. It barely shows on the map anymore, and Ancha became like a severe tropical storm there, but it's now weakening, so it will weaken and fail away there. So not a big threat. And now it shows another invest there, like near Micronesia. Might need to watch that. And there's still, now it shows tropical storm Katon there. Still some very heavy rain in Taiwan. So be careful in those areas. And accumulated like rainfall for all of the tropics shows still a lot in Mexico, Guatemala, central Guatemala, more in Belize, Panama, less in Nicaragua, parts of Honduras, but still some storms near northwestern Honduras, Panama, Nicaragua, and Bahamas and Florida as that thing builds. So definitely be aware there. And let's see, shows a lot southern Mexico, like western Mexico, some more heavy storms all over southern Mexico, that there might still be some flooding there in parts of southern Mexico near those areas there. So please be aware, more than 100 millimeters. Some showers, maybe a little bit more storms in the eastern Caribbean, and shows a lot in Western Africa, still close to 100 millimeters. More tropical showers and storms to Central Africa, and more throughout the Indian Ocean there, like the Maldives, some passing showers and storms, some might be heavy, and the system out there in the south shows more tropical showers and storms through Malaysia, Indonesia. Some might be heavy, especially parts of like Malaysia and northern Indonesia, close to 100 millimeters in Sumatra, parts of northeastern Malaysia. So please be aware, all of those areas, some heavier showers and storms. Papua New Guinea, Western Guinea shows more in the Philippines, some tropical showers and storms, might be some heavier downpours, including like southern India, might be some heavy downpours. And northern Bangladesh does show like more than 300 millimeters still, northeastern India, and also like northern Myanmar, more than 100, occasionally 200 millimeters, including like southern China too. So please be careful, there'll still be flooding near Bangladesh, India, Myanmar there. Shows more around Cambodia, southern and eastern Vietnam, especially eastern Vietnam might be heavier downpours, southern Thailand too, be aware. More there around Taiwan, but that system is very weak now, and this front to bring rain to eastern China and Japan. European model now showing like more than 127 millimeters in Japan there. So be aware, there's the GFS, shows, let's see if it loads, shows a lot for Japan, especially that area, central Japan, some 82 millimeters, southern Vietnam and Cambodia, and a lot in the tropical areas like Malaysia, Indonesia, more than 100 millimeters. So some heavy tropical downpours in those tropical areas, including the Maldives, the southern Maldives, shows other 242 millimeters. So please be careful. Northern Myanmar, northeastern India, Bangladesh, showing a lot still. Southern India, southwestern Sri Lanka, maybe some heavier storms for Central Africa still, and northern Colombia, Venezuela, western Colombia, some heavier storms still. Throughout Panama, some in Costa Rica, especially like Guatemala and Mexico, some heavier downpours, some in Honduras, some more storms in Hispaniola, Jamaica, shower 2, some storms in Cuba, and the GFS now showing like more than 12 inches for Florida there, like some 9 inches. So the GFS picked up on that, so we'll keep a watch. Shows more showers throughout the Eastern Caribbean, the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas. Might be a storm or two, and still some like some showers, maybe some storms in French Polynesia, Solomon Islands, some more tropical downpours near the Solomon Islands, Marshall Islands, some intertropical convergence zone, showers and storms, some showers in Kiribati, and especially like Tuvalu there, some heavier showers and storms from the tropics. So be aware, showing a lot in eastern Vietnam as well. And there's the icon too, shows a similar thing, still a lot in India, Bangladesh, and Myanmar, the tropics there, Japan, like Central Africa, shows a lot building in the Gulf there, a lot in Guatemala and Mexico, showing a lot too. So please stay safe. And now the weather map shows like that front already is rain in Japan today, more rain and storms like Friday, tomorrow throughout Japan, still storm or two on Saturday, and all those heavier downpours in India, Bangladesh. Please be careful in the tropics, some near Bhutan as well, in southern India. Those tropical rains in Central Africa, even some showers in Madagascar, and the stuff in the Atlantic there, some heavier showers in Central America, North and Central America especially. So stay safe in those areas. Be aware with like thunderstorms and those systems, maybe some gusty winds from time to time, especially in Eastern Asia there in Japan, maybe some gusty winds. And yeah, stay safe. So we'll make more updates in the coming days. Bye.